What's going on, guys? It's Vinnie here, and welcome to another video here on Homeschooled Nerd. I don't know why I'm looking at my mic instead of the camera. It's been too long, guys. It's been too long. I've forgotten how to be on YouTube. I don't remember anymore. Might as well just throw in the towel. So yeah, anyway, welcome to this very special comeback video. So needless to say, it's kind of difficult to come back after a hiatus, especially one that's not been planned. Like, I didn't plan on not uploading for so long. I didn't plan on there not being any podcast episodes for the past 5 months. In fact, this year, I don't think we've really had a real Homeschooled Nerd show episode. I guess you could say The Legend of Soulja Boy. That was basically a Homeschooled Nerd show video. I plan on doing a video releasing some of my thoughts on YouTube, but I didn't want that to be my comeback because I have done that for so many comebacks. Mostly just because when you're coming back to YouTube, you're like, man, what am I going to think about? And so you think about a bunch of YouTube stuff, and you're like, well, I'll just make a video on that. And so you do, but I didn't want to do that this time. Instead, I'm going to do a video that everyone can agree is 100% me. So here it is, my top 10 games of all time. For those of you wondering, this video isn't actually scripted. The main reason for that is, given the fact that these are my favorite games of all time, I really don't need a script. I really don't need to do research on them. I think about these games all the time. They're some of my favorite, and I figured I'll just speak from the heart. And hopefully this video turns out to be something good. Thank you as always for those of you who stick with the channel. And without further ado, let's hop in to my top 10 favorite games of all time. So number 10, we have a game which most of you probably haven't heard of. You may have heard it if you got those old plug-and-play consoles, or if you're old enough, way older than me, have been able to go up to the arcades back in the day. You may remember a little game called Bosconian. I like. Now, Bosconian is a very simple game. Basically, you're the ship, and you go around and you shoot stuff. But unlike games like Galaga, Bosconian was free roaming, which for me just blew my mind at the time because it was like all the other arcades were like a single screen, and then that game that I played was just like I can go wherever I want. And it blew my mind as a kid. I probably played this game first when I want to say 8. I was probably 8-ish. It was just really weird as a kid seeing this new kind of experience, especially as someone who, like I said, had never played video games before then. And that was like the games I played on a plug-and-play console. And that one just blew my mind. In fact, when I got into game development a little bit, when I started dabbling in coding, my first project, one of my first projects was to create a game basically recreating Bosconian, and I did that basically with the graphics that were provided by a tutorial, but they were like showing how to make a Galaga style, and I was like, screw that, I'm gonna make my own. I'll have to, I wonder if I still have that. Here we go, Shoot in Space. But basically I wanted to recreate this game in Unity, kind of as a project. I probably will never end up finishing it just because, skip new version please. Basically what I love about it is I can change directions. And that was hard to figure out. Like, I still never got the fire to where it would work right. But I was figuring, you know what, I'm gonna recreate my own graphics anyway when I eventually release this or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I probably won't ever end up releasing this one. But it was a fun project. I learned a lot about coding from it. It was one of the first video games I ever played and has remained one of my favorites. It's just a simple concept that works super well, and also no one really liked it back in the day. Like, most of the Bosconian systems ended up getting converted to Galaga, and that was really sad for me to hear because I think it's honestly the best arcade game ever. I mean, you could make your case for Pac-Man and everything, but this game is really good. Maybe it's just because I really love space. I do love space. Space. Alright, number 9 is Ocarina of Time, which is actually the, I guess I have 2 Zelda games, never mind. I originally played this game on the 3DS when I got it several years back. One of the first like big games I actually beat. Actually, I think it might have been the very first game I ever actually beat. I know Ocarina of Time gets a lot of like, is it good, is it bad, does it matter? I agree, there are problems with it. Like, it holds your hand way too much, and I see that so many times in games from that era, and even from eras nowadays. They do too much holding your hand, and it is a problem. But in Ocarina of Time, it's one of those things which I look as secondary because I'm just having so much fun with the game. You know, the graphics are gorgeous for the time. It was just a huge step in gaming, and I can feel that even now playing it. And the 3DS remake makes it even easier to see that. You know, there's so much in this game going on. Beautiful music, great story, just great gameplay and everything. And for some reason, Zelda, the Ocarina of Time Zelda style works for me. The gameplay works really well for me. You know, I've played some 2D Zelda games, and for some reason it doesn't really click in my mind. But in 3D Zelda games like Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, and basically every 3D Zelda game from then on, it somehow clicked in my mind. I was able to really quickly get to where I could dodge and everything, which for someone who's never been very good at video games, because of not having a lot of experience in them as a kid, you know, kind of helped get my mojo up for more video games on the channel. So that's one of those which I definitely would love to play through on the channel sometime. Maybe we'll do that when Joe comes back later on, or maybe we'll do a playthrough of a different Zelda game. You guys will just have to stay tuned for that, or don't. I wouldn't. Next up is Skyrim. Now this is actually a funny story. So those of you who've been with me for a long time will remember that for a very, very, very long time I would never play M-rated games. And the reason for that I put in a video titled Why I Don't Play M-rated Games. And in that video I was like, man, I would love to play games like Skyrim and stuff. And people were like, why haven't you ever played Skyrim and stuff? It's not that bad. And at that point I was just like, you know what? I've explained why I've restrained them so long. People understand that I'm not a bad person by playing M-rated games, and those who do are the same people who don't like rap music. So I ended up getting it on Steam, and I ended up actually installing a mod which would remove all the blood from the game. But that mod basically actually made the game much more enjoyable for me. As someone who is very sensitive to that kind of thing, it made it a lot easier. Plus, you know, you don't no longer have the blood on the screen, which is honestly very annoying. Bethesda does that in all their games, and it really distracts me from playing and just makes it difficult to keep from dying at that point. Skyrim honestly is an amazing game. I regret not being able to get into the series sooner. I would have loved to be able to play Oblivion before when I was younger. It would have been a blast to be able to spend those hours that it takes to really get to where you are good at the game. Even now I've gotten a lot better at Skyrim, I don't feel like I could go back to Oblivion just because I don't have the time it would take to kind of get used to that old style of game. If I'm wrong though, if I'm wrong and it's actually a lot easier, a lot more similar to Skyrim, be sure to let me know, because, and maybe I'll do a series, or maybe maybe I'll do like a live stream thing on the channel where we can like learn how to play Oblivion together. Let me know if you guys be interested in that. I don't know. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the Elder Scrolls 6 when it comes out later on. And I will definitely be spending a lot of hours on that. So if you guys are missing your Homeschooled Nerd funny videos, it's because I'm probably playing Elder Scrolls. Sorry. Alright, next up is a game which is very similar to Skyrim, Breath of the Wild, which I actually think, I mean, obviously since I placed it higher, it is, in my opinion, better. The thing about Skyrim is that it's definitely more difficult than Zelda, like the dungeons and everything. When you find a cave in Zelda, or I guess to say the little temple things that you find, the shrines. When you find a shrine in Zelda Breath of the Wild, it's like, you know, maybe 20 minutes at the most. If you get stuck, maybe it'll be an hour. But usually the puzzles aren't that difficult, and it's not that many rooms. But in Skyrim, if you find a cave or a town that has side quests for you, you're talking several hours to get through that. And that's a lot. I can't say which is better in that regards, like is it better to have your longer missions, or is Zelda better because you stay focused? I don't know. All I can say though is that Skyrim's intro does not set up the game. Like, it does a lot of hand holding there the very first, you know, 20-30 minutes. Whereas Breath of the Wild throws you right in. Granted, it's in a smaller location, but it does in such a way that you feel what the game is putting at you. It's like, hey, you're free to roam wherever you want. Get used to that, because you're gonna get an even bigger world, and then it's gonna blow your mind. That initial like area is big in Breath of the Wild. It blew my mind when I first saw it, and then when I realized that was only a very small part of the world, I was like, whoa. Whoa! I don't have much I can say negative about Breath of the Wild. Like, it doesn't exactly feel like a Zelda game because we've been so used to the Zelda formula, but it honestly goes back to the roots of Zelda a lot more than previous games did. I don't know whether or not it'd be a good introduction to Zelda, but it's definitely a great game, and I'm hoping to be able to eventually get my own Switch, because right now all I've played on it has been on Joe's Switch when it lets me borrow it for a few days, and that's not enough to beat the game. But who knows? So this next one is one that a lot of people may not agree with or like that I put it in there. It is Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. I've talked about this game before. It's one of my personal favorites. It's actually, I think, the very first game that I ever beat, the very first Mario game that I ever beat, and one of the first ones I ever played. And it's one of those games which has everything going for me. You know, it's a great turn-based RPG. It's got great story. It's got great writing. It's funny, because I like me some funny. When you think about it, Superstar Saga is more than just like a parody Mario game. It's a very, very solid standalone game and series. I don't necessarily like the rest of the Mario & Luigi series as much as Superstar Saga. Superstar Saga was it was simpler, it had less going on. Every next one after that always had to throw in more and more, and it just kind of overflows at a certain point. You know, at a point it's just like, okay, this is a little too much going on. But I actually like this game more than like Super Mario RPG or even Paper Mario. I know, blasphemous, but I fell in love with it a long time ago, and it's been one of my favorite games ever since. There's not much else I can say about it aside from that. Alright, next up, Portal 2. And please don't get mad, there were 10 games. I had to put it somewhere on the list. Portal 2 is like one of those enough said kind of games, right? Like, I could stand here and be like, oh, Portal 2 has got great puzzles, the writing's great, the voice acting's great, burning house down with lemons. You guys like memes? But honestly, like, there's nothing I can say that hasn't been said about this game and that most people don't already know about this game. It's one of those, I'm not gonna even spoil it, honestly. Just, if you haven't played Portal 2 yet, you need to go pick up a copy and play the game, because it's so incredibly good. You don't even need to play Portal 1 to enjoy it, although Portal 1 was definitely an enjoyable experience, I will say. And if you are planning on playing both of them, go ahead and play them in order. It doesn't matter, just do it. Just play Portal 2 sometime in your life. Get it off your bucket list while you still have time, because it's a game which is just a really good game. So yeah. Next up is a game I've talked about a lot as well. Which you'll remember, I think it was number 2 in the top 10 3DS games. I don't know. But yeah, Super Mario 3D Land. What do you know?
Have any of you heard of
Super Mario 3D Land?
Yes. Oh. Why does this always happen to me?
From what I've heard, like, people have mixed opinions on 3D Land and 3D World. Most people I know really like the games. I personally prefer 3D Land. I feel like it's a lot simpler. I love how it's just a basic Mario game. It doesn't have a lot of craziness going on. You don't have a cat power-up. You have a new Tanuki, but it's basically the same as the last Leaf tail that Mario got, you know? Honestly, it reminds me of like the old Mario games. It feels very simple, it feels very straightforward. It does have a lot of mechanics, yes, I suppose you could say, but they're done in such a way that the levels are always themed around them, and they work really well. There's never a point in the game where I feel like there's too much going on, like a lot of like the new Super Mario Brothers games, where I feel like I'm being overwhelmed because like the whole screen is jumping out at me, and I'm like, oh, there's too much to pay attention to. I just realized maybe the only fact that I like this game is because when I was younger, I thought it was cool that Princess Peach was tied to the flagpole at the end. That was a thing. Thanks, puberty. Alright, number 3, Chrono Trigger. This is, I actually put this game on the DS because I like the upped-up graphics, I like the cutscenes and everything. But yeah, if you are going to play this game, I recommend the DS version. But it's honestly my absolute favorite JRPG. It's one of the only JRPGs that I actually can enjoy. For some reason, the old Final Fantasy game, all the Final Fantasy games, I dislike. I mean, I enjoy them for about 10 hours, I'd say, and then I get halfway through the game and I'm like, this is hard. So many of those games, there's grinding going on. There's, you know, the difficulty ramps up way too quickly. I don't know what it is about Chrono Trigger, but I've never had that problem. But something about being able to see all the enemies instead of I'll just walk around in a circle until I find an enemy so I can level up is so much more relieving, because if I fight every single enemy, they're gone then. I guess some of them will kind of respawn, but for the most part, they are gone. If in like a dungeon area, and that is. It's a lot less stressful than like, oh no, am I gonna see people? You can avoid battles. They're right there. I don't know why this is the only JRPG that's ever done that, because it's genius. There's no like transition from your playing field to your battlefield. It's all the same thing. It's just really good. I don't know why Square Enix can't do this again. They did it once and it worked so well and people love it. But for some reason they can't do it with Final. I guess I shouldn't complain, like it makes sense, like why they wouldn't change a formula for Final Fantasy and whatnot. But at the same time, it's like, it works so well that I want to see more of it. I need to stop shaking my desk. And yeah, that needs to stop, I know. I just can't stand, I love Chrono Trigger! I'm sorry. Alright, number 2, another SNES game, Super Mario World. I just realized that these last 3 on my list are SNES games, but that just will go to show you what kind of a person I am. Stuck in the 90s. Super Mario World is one of those games which I've always kind of had a crush on. That sounds like the wrong term to use, but it's the best I can do. Ever since I was younger, I'd see Super Mario 3D World on like my friend's Game Boy Advance. They had a version of it, and it just, the graphics drew me in for some reason. I don't know what it was about this game, but every time I see it, you just get happy vibes. Like, no Mario game has ever done that quite like Super Mario World. I can't always explain exactly what it is about a game that I love so much, especially in a case like this. The game's just, even though I'm so bad of it, like, I can barely get past the first world. Once I get past the second world, I'm pretty much screwed. But I never get mad at this game. Like, it always feels fair. You can tell so much love and effort went into making it, and it's the same vibe that I got from Mario Odyssey, which is why I love that game so much, because it just brought it all back. And I think Mario Odyssey should have been on this list, but I didn't have room. I'm sorry, it's an honorable mention. Let's go on to number 1. So this will not be a surprise for those of you who have watched me for a while, but Super Metroid is my favorite game of all time. Metroid has become like one of my favorite series. I've never played Metroid Prime, but I've played all the 2D games. I've even played the 3DS remake of Samus. I've played another Metroid 2 remake. I almost said AMSR. It's ASMR is what the thingy is.
We're doing a video about another Metroid Prime, another Super Metroid remake. It stands for ASMR. It stands for ASMR. It's really good.
But yeah, Super Metroid is one of those games which is a very few of the SNES games which I've actually been able to almost beat. I've never actually beaten it, mostly because every time I pick it up, I'm like, I'm going to go back to the beginning so I can play through that awesome intro stage. It's one of the best openings in a game ever. Every time I go to it, it just excites me. Once again, I just love space. And the character of Samus, I really like her. It's one of the coolest video game protagonists, I think. And I mean that in the most entirely respectful way that a man possibly can. I hope. Nobody ever remake this game. It doesn't deserve that. It doesn't need that. It doesn't need it, is what I'm saying. It deserves it, but it doesn't need it. It's the game we deserve. And the one we need. We need it and we don't deserve it. It's not the game that we deserve, it's the game we need. I just butchered that quote. So yeah, anyway, those were my favorite games. Like I said, this is just my personal opinion, which I kind of assume most people would already know. I mean, that's the thing. This is one of those lists that's very subjective. All my lists are very subjective, which sucks whenever you're doing like a top 10 best or worst, because there's always people like, hey, I thought that Super Mario Maker for 3DS was good. And it's like, what? Why? Why would you think that? But in all seriousness, I super appreciate those of you who stick with the channel through this dry period and through us trying to figure out what the heck we're doing as a channel. I honestly don't know where the future of this channel is going to be. I'm going to do a video about our issues with the channel and YouTube in a week from now, probably, hopefully, maybe, we'll see. But yeah, hopefully we'll be seeing more Homeschooled Nerd videos coming out within the next couple of weeks. We'll try to get back onto a regular period, so you guys won't have to do without your Homeschooled Nerd dose videos. you can finally get that injected right into your arm, right into your bloodstream, so it's closest to your heart. I guess it's hard. I don't freaking know. I don't do drugs. All right, anyway, guys, that's it for me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. I think I messed up my throat.
Hey guys, check out some of my other videos and subscribe.